T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to the Twisted 10, bringing you original and unique, host-created top 10 lists, recorded live in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida, with hosts Tach Van Sickle and Adam Poston.
All right, welcome to the Twisted 10. And once again, my name is Tach, and sitting across from me is...
Hey, I'm Adam. How you guys doing? Well, how are you doing?
Oh, how am I doing? I'm doing okay.
Did I give it away? Did I give it away? We have a guest.
Yeah, sure. I didn't say that yet. So, how are you doing, Adam?
Hey, I can't complain, man. It's another day. It's the day after April Fool's Day. So,
Yeah.
It's all right. Did you get any April Fool's gags pulled on you?
No, nothing.
Yeah, no, me
Nothing.
neither. But I'm on guard on April 1st now, from now on. I don't look at anything on the internet critically. So,
Yeah, I don't believe
I'm on guard for
anything.
it.
Yeah, I remember one year, this was several years back, is back in my rack room days, if you remember that.
Wait a minute, you worked at Rack Room?
Yeah.
I worked at Rack Room.
We didn't work together. I think you started right after I left.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, back then, on the radio, on local rock radio station, they were playing a joke, which I didn't even realize was April 1st, and I fell for it. They were saying that Metallica had broken up, and this guy was going around like calling into these stations, going, yeah. And I was like, what the I was like shocked and I'm pissed, and I was like, oh man. And then finally I realized the next day it was just an April Fool's
April Fool's joke, yeah. Hopefully you weren't like the girls that all committed suicide when Kurt Cobain shot himself.
Yeah, I wasn't like that at all.
No? Were you crying in your pillow at home over?
So we have a guest.
All right. Moving on from tax tears.
So we have a guest today, and he has brought a list for us.
I love it.
Our first guest to bring a list.
Our very first guest for...
Well,
I guess we had...
Yeah, Andrea was here.
Yeah, that's right.
But she didn't bring guests, or didn't bring a list. Yeah.
She brought breasts?
She brought her breasts. That's what she
brought her
brought.
breasts, yes.
But with us today is Jimmy Klein, and he is from Taint Funny. And Jimmy, what's up?
Not much. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, definitely. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. So you've listened to all of the episodes so far, right? No, I'm just kidding. I already know the answer to that.
No, I didn't want to spoil my own list, so I purposely.
So you brought in your own original list. You did all the homework
Yes.
on it.
Yeah, I did all my own homework, and I got my own list. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
awesome.
Yeah, that's how the kind of the show format for the Twisted 10 works, is that you bring in, well, the host surprises the other host, or hosts in this case, with their own original top 10 list. Oliver, get out of that shit. Come on. Dog. So this week we get given the gift of not having to do any work for the top 10 list, but
It's the best kind.
we get given the gift of a unique top 10 list coming from outside of our minds. So
That works.
So Jimmy, can you give us a little background on you? Like what
Yeah.
what do you do? Not what do you do? Well, whatever you want to give us.
Well, I'm on another podcast
Oh yeah,
that you may have listened to, called Taint Funny,
nice.
with three other gentlemen.
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, I think
our
so,
listeners
too.
probably know a little bit
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that one too. Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I got a background doing theater, doing some video stuff.
Sweet.
You know?
Awesome.
Do you act, sing, do production work? What do you like to do in the theater?
Yes.
Yes.
Really? My girlfriend has she's been up here at the Cocoa Playhouse, or Cocoa Players, whatever the hell that place is called.
Cocoa Surfside Playhouse.
Cocoa Village Playhouse.
Oh, Cocoa Village
Cocoa
Playhouse.
Village
Okay,
Playhouse.
yeah.
She's sang, danced, and the whole thing, acted everything. She's got an amazing voice.
That's cool.
I want to try to get her and push her back into doing that stuff again. Now
Yeah.
that I'm helping her out all the time.
I talked to her about, because we have a short film we're going to be in production soon, and I talked to her about possibly maybe auditioning for a certain role that she might be able to handle.
I think it'd be great.
I think I know.
That's
what
why I was
role
hoping that.
I think I know what role you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Timmy.
Yeah. Yeah, too.
I was kidding.
No. That's why I was hoping she was going to be here tonight, so she can meet Jimmy.
That's
and
cool,
kind of
right
talk
on.
about it.
Is this the role of the porn star?
Porn star? That's right.
I approve vehemently.
I actually met my wife in theater. We were dance partners.
I thought you were going to see you make your wife in porn. Like, that's awesome.
No. That wasn't until years later.
That's really cool.
All right, Jimmy. So what have you got for us? What's the name of this list?
Well, I didn't really give the whole list a name per se, but the people that I'm friends with, my acquaintances, the people I work with, they kind of know me for having a little bit different taste in movies. So I thought I would do a top 10 list of what I call Jimmy's cult movies.
Jimmy's cult
movies.
Can we do a show about cults and stuff?
Because there's so many times where I'll mention a movie like, hey, have you seen this movie? And I get so many times, I've never even heard of that movie. And I got to explain the whole, and then they look at me like I'm crazy because I enjoy the movie and I love the movie and they've never heard of it. So I thought I would do a list of all the movies that I really enjoy.
Sweet.
So, yes. Jimmy's Twisted Top 10 Cult.
But these aren't cult
movies.
Films.
So
these are
they're Jimmy's cult
films.
Jimmy's cult.
So number
difference.
10 is Human Centipede? Is that how this list is going to go?
I think they're weirder than this. I know
I'm
Jimmy,
kidding.
and they're weirder than that.
I do have them broken up into subcategories, so to speak.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Occasionally, Tach and I throw a twist in there.
Okay.
Do you have any angles or twists that are different?
Possibly.
Okay.
I'll discuss that at the end of the list.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Really, all it is?
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oliver's going to contribute to background noise in
That's cool.
in the studio.
That's okay. That gives ambiance. All right. So I thought I would start off my list of Jimmy's cult films with a couple of movies that are a little bit more nostalgic. And Tach has seen both of these movies. I know he's seen both of these movies. One of these movies he got me to watch in the first place. And both of them happen to be John Cusack films.
Oh, nice.
I love John Cusack.
Yeah.
So you said both. Is this 10 and 9, or is this
This
just
is 10 and 9, yeah.
10 and 9, okay.
10 and 9, yeah. The first movie is a little movie called Better Off Dead.
Love it.
Yeah. That's not the movie you got me to watch.
Never
but
seen
is
that.
one. You've never seen it?
Never seen
Well,
that.
I
That's
wrote down
great.
a brief summary about the film for those of you who haven't
Oh, yeah,
seen it.
definitely.
A lot of these summaries come either right from IMDb, right from Rotten Tomatoes, or I just happened to find a summary online somewhere. So they're not all from one place.
Okay.
Okay, Lane Meyer, who's John Cusack's character, is a teen with a peculiar family and a bizarre fixation with his girlfriend, Beth, who's played by Amanda Weiss. I wrote down some of their names, people that I thought might look familiar, people that people might know. When Beth dumps Lane, he decides to kill himself, making bumbling attempts at suicide. Outside of his morbid endeavors, Lane spends time with his oddball buddy Charles, played by Curtis Armstrong, and befriends Monique, played by Diane Frankley. I don't think she ever went on to do anything
No,
else.
I don't think so either.
A visiting French foreign exchange student. Eventually, Lane resolves to race Beth's obnoxious new boyfriend on the ski slopes with unexpected results.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think I may have seen a John Cusack flick on the ski slopes.
Yeah.
That was probably it.
Have you ever heard the line, I want my $2?
Yes, I have. Okay.
That's from
Yeah,
this
yeah.
movie.
all right.
Yes.
I know it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a really nice 69 Camaro in the movie that he fixes up through the course of the
It
movie.
may have been 20 years since I've seen that movie. I didn't see it in the age that I would have respected the movie. So I'll
If
have
you
to
watch it
again.
now, it really is a good movie.
Okay.
If you watch it.
Yeah.
But it's
I love
got Rotten Tomatoes scored at 88%.
Oh,
And
wow.
this is the customer rating, not Rotten Tomatoes, because not all these movies were even in Rotten Tomatoes, but they all had at least customer ratings in Rotten Tomatoes. So I
Okay.
wrote down the customer ratings. It's got John Cusack and Curtis Armstrong in it. It's got a guy.
For those of you
named,
who don't know who Curtis Armstrong is, he played Booger.
yeah,
in
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
assume people would know who he is.
Booger.
No, Jimmy, you have to remember we're a different breed. We
I'm
tend
used
to
to
know people.
My wife is like an encyclopedia with
Yeah,
people.
I'm
in
the
movies.
same. I'm the same way.
Yeah, and so I'm used to just not having to. But one of the other gentlemen in the movie his name is David Ogden Steers. If you look up his picture, he was on MASH and he did a lot of voiceover work and stuff like that. So if you
MASH
saw him,
was
you'd be like,
great.
I've seen that guy before.
What did
But
he play in that? What did he play in the movie?
He played
He plays dad.
the dad, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But another one that I thought was interesting, there's an Asian guy that always wants to race Lane Myers, right? And he does this. He talks like Howard Cosell because that's who he listened to. For those of you who don't know, Howard Cosell was a sports announcer from the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
So he talks like Howard Cosell because that's how he, but he went on to do probably more than anybody in the film other than John Cusack. He was in Inception, Truman Show, Pearl Harbor, The Game, and
Really?
Los Angeles. Yeah, he was in
That's
a lot of
surprising.
stuff. Yeah,
I didn't know
Inception
that.
is such a good movie.
He almost has a better career than John Cusack does. And when I say he was in these films, I don't necessarily say that he was just background people. He was in as decent people.
Now that I'm kind of remembering that guy's face, he does look familiar. And I think
Yeah.
I probably have seen him in these movies and going, God, he looks familiar, but I don't know from
Exactly,
what.
yeah.
So So
Better Off Dead, I highly suggest that film. That's a great film.
Absolutely.
It's a very quotable film. It's It's a cool, I don't know, it's just one of those 80s movies that's just fun to watch.
I want my $2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And if you watch Hot Tub Time Machine, I think 1 or 2, they have a throwback to that. Some guy goes up and hands him $2, and they don't really explain it. They just kind of say it.
Yeah.
But
I think that was in part 2. I think
the other one, which is I would consider it
first one.
a sister movie of that, which is this is number 9.
I agree too that they're like sister movies.
They are, yeah,
because it's almost the same character.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it, I was going to wait, but I was gonna say
I didn't. I know what you're going to say. I didn't write it down. Go ahead.
About how the cartoon,
yeah.
Because like in this next one,
he's totally lost. He's like, what the fuck? Are they
first of all, let me give a backstory about me and Jimmy. First of all, we're about as
alike.
Well, we've been friends since like 1987. All right, so it's like we're not married, but we're kind of married. You know, so
You have a
It's almost like we can finish.
each other's sandwiches.
Yeah.
I mean sentences.
You have a bromance. It's all right. That's okay to admit.
Anyway, about these two movies, like in Better Off Dead, he wasn't a cartoonist, but there was cartoons in it, right?
There was. Yeah, he does at the
draw-
very opening of both films. He does the animation for both of them. John Cusack did animation when he was younger. Yeah.
Those are actually John Cusack animations.
Yeah, no, he actually draws them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So he's like a cartoonist in both movies, and he does. There's parts of it that are animated where he kind of narrates and over the animation about kind of what's going on, and just both movies shared that. And I thought
So
that was
this
pretty
next
cool.
movie is 1409? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I saw that movie like once, but anyway. So go ahead. So number 9.
Okay, number 9 is a movie called One Crazy Summer.
I definitely have seen that. When you said the animations,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. I think I've seen this. And then
Yeah, One Crazy Summer. They really had a good film on their hands, and whoever casted it
It's great.
was a great casting person because they ended up casting a lot of people in the movie that went on to have decent careers, but this is all when they were nobodies. But the synopsis of the film that I found was an aspiring teenage cartoonist, which is what Tax was talking about, and his friends come to the aid of a singer trying to save her family's property from developers. Rotten Tomato audience score was 64% on this.
Wow, really? That's it?
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes is an interesting site to me because it's some of the movies that they score like 95
Yeah.
are just atrocious train wrecks. And then some that they score squash tomatoes or whatever, like 20% or whatever, are to me, they're great. Like, I'll give you an example. I know this is off topic, but one of my favorite movies of all time, at least in the last 10, 15 years, is what was the movie where they go to the other planets? It's in the future. It's the Alien prequel. Prometheus.
Prometheus, yeah.
I fucking love that movie, especially because it had the cult following of how Earth was seeded and whatever. It had so many wonderful storylines. It's almost like they were an anti. Who's the director?
You and John. That's Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Yeah,
You
it's
and
almost
John, man. Like you freaking love that movie.
most Ridley Scott movies on Rotten Tomatoes they score it low. It's really strange. If you look at most Ridley Scott movies, they score it low. Sorry. Back to number 9.
All right, number 9, One Crazy Summer. The casting in this was like we had talked about was pretty good. It obviously has John Cusack in it, and it obviously has Curtis Armstrong in it because he seems to cast Curtis Armstrong in a lot of these older movies he did. But it's got Demi Moore in it, which surprises a lot of people. And this was before she was anybody. I don't think she had done anything yet. I know this was before she did Ghost.
Yeah, it was definitely before Ghost. It was around the time she did
The Bruce Springsteen video.
No, that's Courtney Cox.
Oh, that's right. Same thing. Yeah, they're the same person. Yeah.
No,
She has a house, by the way. Demi Moore, whatever, has a house here in Merritt Island.
That's right. Down the street. Yeah.
Okay, you're losing that puppy. Sorry.
what's that? That movie with Rob Lowe she did. It was straight up porn. When I was a kid, I used to love that movie because it was straight up porn.
Oh, are you talking where she was a dancer?
No.
You talking about the one where they hump on the train?
No, that's Risky Business.
Oh, sorry.
That's Rebecca De Mornay.
When you were a kid, Demi Moore was in a movie. Was she naked in it?
Yeah, like full
Oh, was that the one where she played a stripper?
No. It was
Was this before she did Friends?
About Last Night. It was About Last Night. That's what it's called. Anyway.
Adam's going to Google.
This was before she did Friends, right?
Anyway, Bobcat Goldthwait's in this movie.
There for you.
You're talking about the one you're talking about the porn one?
No.
Bobcat Goldthwait?
You love
yeah.
One Crazy Summer.
One thing I thought was interesting was there's a lady in there that plays the mom. And she has a pretty. Well, actually, I'm getting movies confused. The mom from Better Off Dead is what I'm thinking. This is a throwback.
She was awesome.
That's the only movie she ever did.
She was so good.
She never went on to do another movie, and she was one of the best characters in a movie.
She was one of the quotable ones too.
And when I say she's never done a movie, I don't mean nothing notable. I mean she never did another movie.
Just one.
If you look on IMDb, that's the only thing she ever did.
That's nuts.
And I don't know if she passed away, maybe or what, but yeah. Anyways, going back to this film.
Huh.
The friend, his friend Joel.
It was a Murray brother.
Yeah, he plays a security guard in the new Ghostbusters coming out.
Oh, nice.
It seems like he went into character acting.
I have waited to ask you guys this question.
If we're going to see it?
You barely referenced it just a second ago on the new Ghostbusters. Have you seen the previews for the new Ghostbusters? The all-girl Ghostbusters?
Yeah. I saw a trailer for it.
I really wanted to get your guys' take to see what you think. The moment that I saw the trailer, I'm like, so I have my opinion, but I'll reserve it till I want to hear your guys' opinions. But I wanted to see what you guys would say. So, because Taint Funny is media everything. So comics, movies, music, everything. So really wanted the take from Taint Funny's guys to find out what they thought about this movie coming out. What did you think when you saw it?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about something specific in the trailer, I don't have anything.
No,
just as a whole.
As a whole.
Okay. Well, I really like the cast. I like Kristen Wiig. I like funny chicks. And, so I think it's going to be good. I like it.
Really?
I'm excited about it.
I was just the opposite.
You're more like Jimmy
I'm not misogynist by any stretch of the imagination, but they're going to ruin the franchise of my childhood Ghostbusters by introducing these 4 comical women. Yes, granted, the first one was 4 comical guys, but it was still a pseudo comedy. It wasn't pure comedy the entire way through. They still had objectives. This looks like it's slapstick meets what was the fat chick's name that does all the comedies lately?
It's Jimmy's favorite.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy. It's slapstick meets Melissa McCarthy set to Ghostbusters theme. It looks horrible.
I don't like heavyset comics that use their weight as a punchline. You know what I mean? Because what you're sending a message to, and not to be a downer on the show, but the message you're sending to all the young people is, it's okay to make fun of fat girls because they're funny, or it's okay to be fat as long as you make fun of yourself. And I think that's such a lame way of making a punchline. If you don't have any comedic talent, then just stop being in movies.
Are you talking specifically for women or for all?
Anybody. I just think that's such a lame punchline.
What about like Chris Farley?
Even him, I wasn't a very big fan of him either. I mean, just to get up and make fun of being fat, there's people out there with real problems. That's I don't know. I don't think it's very funny to make fun of. But anyways.
Sorry, go ahead.
Bobcat Goldthwait's in it, which you had mentioned.
I really like him a lot.
The Crossing Guard. There's a scene in there where there's a crossing guard where the little girl, they keep telling her little sister.
Oh,
where if you get
yeah.
That lady in the crossing guard was also in Better Off Dead. There's a few people in the cast that's been in both movies.
So they did the Sandlerism here, where they took the same people from movie to movie. I just watched his Indian movie last night, by the way.
Jeremy Piven is in the movie before he was really in it.
Oh, that's right. I forget. Yeah. I like Jeremy Piven a lot. What is the rich guy's dad's name? He just passed away.
He did, yeah. I don't have his name down, but he's another one that's in the movie that people would know if they saw it.
Yeah.
A guy named
just passed away like last year or something. Like
Matt Melhorn, a guy in the movie. He played Wachowski in Biloxi Blues.
Yeah.
He was in it. He plays his son.
Yeah.
And then another one that I was surprised about was John Matuzak. You know who John Matuzak is?
Sorry.
John Matuzak played Sloth in the Goonies.
Oh yeah.
He was the guy.
He was in the Ice Pirates. He was in. He passed away as well.
He was the guy that had the purple spike hair.
Oh yeah.
He falls into water. There's like this fish on it.
Yeah.
He was in it. So
he died back in the 80s, I think, 90s.
Yeah,
something like that.
Rotten Tomatoes scored this 64%. It's one of those things. If you're going to see Better Off Dead, you really got to see One Crazy Summer.
Yeah, agreed.
They kind of go together.
They do go hand in hand.
They're not the same movie. They're far from it. If I had to pick one, I would say One Crazy Summer is probably funnier than Better Off Dead.
I think I might have to introduce Andrea to a throwback night.
Seriously, yeah, they're really good.
Do those two together. Good recommendations.
I haven't seen either one in a while. Now I want to.
I know I have One Crazy Summer on DVD. I don't think I have Better Off Dead though.
Yeah, it might be good to say like where we can watch these. So.
Probably both Netflix now.
I don't think either one of those are on Netflix.
No, they're not on Netflix.
They used to. One of them used to be.
You would have to order it off iTunes, I think. Run it off iTunes.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. Number
or
7?
Pirate Bay. Just kidding. Twisted Tent does not promote hacking of any kind.
Plus, there's a lot of sites out there you can just stream it without having to download it. No, I was kidding. I was joking.
Say those. I'll cut that out. I want those for later. Kidding.
The next two that I have, this is 7 and 6.
Okay.
Is it? No.
No. You did 10 and 9.
8 and 7.
7.
8 and 7.
Okay, there we go. Tach knows I'm into
Midget porn.
Well, close. I like horror movies, but
Okay.
Asians are on a whole different level than we are with
Asians are
horror movies.
scarier.
They really
More
are.
specifically Koreans? Is that what it is?
Well, both. But if you ever have a chance to see a movie like The Grudge, for instance,
Yep.
and then see the Asian counterpart to it, the original, it really is on a whole different level. It really is. This next film is an obscure film, and I couldn't even find a synopsis really online for it. But Tach has heard me talk about this film. I don't think he's ever seen it. It's called The Audition. Have you ever seen that?
That's all.
Have you?
I watched it with you.
Never seen that.
No, it's basically about this guy who loses his wife. He has a son, and he decides to finally get back on the horse, so to speak. So his occupation is he's a television producer, a big time television producer in Japan, or in Korea rather. And so him and his friend decide, well, let's make a fake TV show just so we can hold auditions to meet girls. And then you start dating one of the girls that you want to cast and then tell her, oh, sorry, the money got pulled.
You mean kind of like how we were going to hold
vicariously?
auditions for our other podcast for the female role on the show?
The first 45 minutes of the film, probably about maybe 30 minutes, is a romantic comedy in every way. There's no scary music. There's no, subplot. There's no foreshadowing. It's 100%. I mean, and you would agree, right? 100% romantic comedy for the first half hour of the film. Then it takes a really, really sharp left-hand turn for like maybe 10 seconds. And it goes right back into romantic comedy for another 15 minutes, right? And so it really messes with your head because you really start to think about this guy trying to find a girl, and his son is involved, and he's like, Dad, I want you to have a wife. I want you to be happy. I'm getting older. And they really do a good job of luring you into all this.
So it bleeds into a really weird twist.
It does, yeah.
But only a short one.
Yeah. Well, it's a very short one. And I don't think I'm giving anything away by telling you how... he always meets this girl outside of her house, and he's never allowed to go pick her up. He calls her, and they show her in an empty room, no furniture, sitting on the floor, Indian style. And there's a telephone sitting in the middle of the floor, and that's the only thing you see in the room, that and a burlap sack behind her, right?
Huh.
And the phone rings, and
you have 7 days to live. No, I'm just kidding.
And she looks at the phone to go pick it up, and the burlap sack starts rolling around behind her. And she turns around and looks at the burlap sack, and then it goes back to the Asian guy that's been calling her, and that's it. And then it goes on romantic comedy for another 15 minutes, right? And so you're like, that's the look you get when you're watching, like, what in the hell's going on? And so after 15 minutes, they finally show what's in that burlap sack, right? So there's a scene, and keep in mind, you've been 45 minutes into this romantic comedy, right? And you're really invested in it. She opens up the burlap sack, and this guy comes out that's naked. He's missing 2 fingers on one hand and only has 1 finger on his other hand. And his tongue is missing.
So he can still do the shocker, though.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing.
So his tongue is missing, and she pulls out a dog food bowl, right, to feed him, sticks her finger in her mouth, vomits into the bowl. And because this dude's been in a burlap sack for how long, he slurps that shit up like he hadn't eaten in a year.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And
Holy
so
shit.
the rest of the film is basically about how she is completely psycho and completely sadistic. But what makes the film disturbing is they have a ridiculous amount of extra information that has nothing at all to do with the storyline. You know what I mean? Like why she does it, how she got away, but it has nothing at all to do with the main storyline. So you start thinking about it going, I think this is a confession video. I think somebody made this because they really did this to some guy, like that's the level that they go to. It's really a disturbing film.
It's dark.
Yeah. You'll never date another Asian girl again if you watch this movie. Yeah. But the audience score for Rotten Tomatoes was 80%. It's easy to find online. I don't think Netflix had it for a while. I don't think they have it anymore. But there's a really good website, and it's a legal website as far as I know. It's called AsianHorrorFlix.com. And you can watch just about every Asian horror flick ever put out on the website. And it's just by some guy that really likes Asian horror movies.
I want to see the North Korean horror flicks. Those got to be bad.
This isn't on my list, but a really good one is the original Old Boy.
Okay, good.
Really,
It's not even
really,
this. I
really
wanted
good
to
one.
talk about that. So
That's a really, really good film.
I only saw the Josh Brolin version, the American version, which I guess is pretty close.
They have this action sequence in that one, and they got it from the original.
Yeah, it's all like one shot.
Yeah, they go down this. It's almost like a staircase that's zigzag, and the camera follows this, and it's like a 10-minute long fight scene, and it's one continuous shot with the camera going down the stairwell, and this guy's traveling down the stairwell, fighting guys.
The camera's falling alongside of
just
them.
one
It's
shot,
like side scrolling along with it.
and as good as that one is, the Korean one is hands down way better.
Yeah, I never saw the Korean one, but I saw the Josh Brolin American one, and that's cool that they stole that, or they used that shot just like the original. I thought that was really neat.
And there's some differences at the end. Like if you've seen that one, the ending is different. But that's another kind of disturbing thing.
That's
just
very.
the level they
The
go
ending of it is is screwed up.
The Korean version is way better.
It is messed up. It is. You're watching. You're like, are you freaking kidding me? Like you're like, that is horrible.
That's weird. You go 45 minutes in that movie though, and then all of a sudden the little bit of the twist comes out and kind of scares you.
Well, the twist is it's like a M. Night Shyamalan. It's like the movie is it's a good movie. Like it's you're like okay, this guy's trying to fight, get to whatever. You're like cool, trying to save the girl, whatever kind of a thing. I'm not going to give anything away, but
he's talking about. He's not talking about audition. He's talking about Old Boy. Okay.
Yeah, Old Boy. And so you're like, okay, this guy's trying to save the girl and this and that, fighting, going through fighting scenes. Like okay, and then at the very end, it's like the last few minutes. The twist happens just like M. Night movies, but it's not. It's a much bigger twist than like any M. Night ever could imagine.
So I watched a movie,
and you do not expect it at all.
No, you don't see it at all.
No, there's no foreshadowing.
Such a good job of hiding it.
I have a canned movie that I prepare for people who haven't seen it before that I want to see their reactions. It's like my own little personal science experiment that I pull on people. Mostly it works best on girls, but I've done it with you guys as well. You go about 40 minutes just the same into the movie, and it looks like a woman's survival movie. Like she went through a rough time in her life, and her husband died or fiance died or whatever, and her girlfriends are helping her and are coping with her and dealing with her, and they decide to go on a little adventure, this group of girls. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly where this is going. Have you ever seen the movie Descent?
No.
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen
You're
it.
fucking kidding me. I don't want to
all excited.
I do not want to ruin this.
Don't.
There is such a dramatic twist. I shit you not. This is an honest to God story. One of the girls that I was watching this movie with was laying on the floor in the house watching this movie, and it was looking like maybe a romantic or a sympathy tear-jerking kind of movie. And at one point in this movie, there is such a vivid twist into the horror of the movie, because it is a horror movie.
Right.
It made her fart because she screamed. It was a straight scream fart. She just wasn't expecting it, and it was literally. It wasn't like a jump scare kind of scare. It's just a making you think scare, and it still scares the shit out of you. You guys got to watch that.
Well, like my reaction with Old Boy at the very end, like my jaw literally fell open. I was like, and you're like, oh
yeah,
God.
you actually cover your mouth.
You're like,
what
oh my God, are you kidding me? Like that's how. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen to our own podcast to.
And then
get all these.
I'm not going to give anything away, but in the Asian version of that, in the Korean version,
yeah, you told me once.
It's it's more disturbing because it's kept a secret. If you see what I'm saying.
Of course, it was kept a secret. He wasn't told the secret.
Right.
Oh, okay.
He did not return the merchandise. He kept it. And he didn't tell anybody. Yeah.
That is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But either way, they're both messed up.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm lost over here. I don't know what to do.
But that's on AsianHorrorFlix.com as well.
Okay.
Old Boy. And both Old Boy and The Audition have two of the most disturbing scenes in horror movies.
Really?
Yeah, there's one scene that Techno's on. Oh, actually, I don't think it's in the American version, but in the Korean version, there's a scene that was rated one of the most disturbing scenes. In The Audition, the scene I described.
I would imagine if they redid the fight scene, they would also redo that scene.
Well, this wasn't even that. This was a scene that happened at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are either one of you guys claustrophobic at all?
No.
Depends. Not necessarily, but it depends.
When you do me a favor, you have homework. And you failed at homework on Living Podcariously, so maybe you can do your homework on this one.
What?
I still haven't got your science.
Oh, I know. God, yes.
You need to, and for those of you listening, Living Podcariously is another pod. No, I'm just kidding. Watch Descent and tell me about it. I want to know. Make it late at night.
Is this a
nice
Twisted
and dark.
10 homework?
Yes, Twisted 10 homework. Yes, it is. I want to hear your recant of the twist that's in that movie because it'll freak you out.
It's twisted?
Especially if you're claustrophobic. I like it. All right, so we went through 10, 9, and 8. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're on number 7?
Yeah, number 7.
All right.
This is another Asian horror movie.
Nice. Thank you very much.
This one, I don't even know if I can pronounce the name correctly.
Fa ra 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 ra. That's for Ron.
Kira Otosan. Otosan.
Good enough.
Whatever that is, right?
Sure.
It's a little bit of a convoluted storyline. I wrote this synopsis myself because it's a complicated movie, and the generic summary I found online just didn't really do the movie justice. You know what I mean? But try to bear with me. Okay, this guy's daughter survives after being dragged into the woods and raped and mutilated.
Oh.
By 2 guys that are brothers, right?
Her brothers or just brothers to themselves?
Brothers in general.
Okay.
These 2 guys, her assailants, let her go, but not before having her tongue and her hands cut off so that she can't tell anybody, right? So she can't communicate. That's their thought. If her hands aren't tied, or if her hands aren't there, she can't write it down.
Yeah, can't
write. If her tongue's not there, she can't tell anybody, right? That's the mentality.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, why does this might as well kill her? I mean,
she's found and brought back to her father. Eventually, the father of the daughter goes crazy at the thought of everything that happened, right? He sacrifices, he has 2 sons. He sacrifices his sons by cutting off their hands because he thinks that somehow this is going to make everything. This guy's like psychotic at this point. Like he's really disturbed.
Making everything right in the universe.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. He eventually thinks he sees spirits, like not really demons. They don't really portray him as demons. They portray him as almost like the ghost of Christmas Past, but, a horror version of that kind of thing, that tells him to kill his daughter out of shame that she's brought upon the family.
Holy shit.
Right? Because she was raped and all that kind of stuff. He eventually catches the 2 guys that did this because somebody tells him who it is. He ends up slitting their throats, decapitates them, and this is where it gets sadistic, feeds them to their own mother. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. Afterwards, he tells her that she had just eaten her son. That basically what he had done. Then kills both her and his daughter because of the whole shame she's brought upon the family.
Holy shit!
And then feeds all their remains to wild animals. Right? Yeah.
Is there more?
Circle of
then
life.
He takes this guy's the rapists. Their mom is dating a black guy. He ends up burying,
I can't watch the movie.
Yeah, he ends up burying him from the chest down, and then lets him starve to death from elements and stuff.
Where did the black guy come in though?
I don't know. It's almost like
just
it's
some random.
You're a boyfriend. Yeah, you're gonna fucking die too.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, but it's
So let me ask this question: when the dad was chopping up the boys, did he serve them sushi style? It is an Asian movie.
No, he put it in like a chicken pot pie kind of thing.
Huh.
That's one of the reasons he drained the blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Yeah.
I think I lived next to that guy down
And
there.
the name of that movie was again
Kira Otosan.
Spell it again.
Kira space Otosan.
All right, I'll have to look that one up.
You may have to put these names like in the show notes or something.
That'll give it away though.
Kira Otosan.
Oh yeah, good point.
We can't do that.
Yeah, that was a disturbing film, and I think I looked it up, and I think something like 19 people die in the first 30 minutes or something. I mean, it's something insane.
That's actually another statistic that Hollywood keeps track of. The most deaths in a movie, and they have all the movies with the top deaths in the movie. Like Rambo ranked up there.
Well, there's one that's a zombie film, like Night of the Living Dead kind of film, and all they do is just kill the undead through the entire movie, and it's something like 300 or 400 different things.
Do they count though? They're already dead.
But they're already dead.
But anyways, that was what number was that? 10, 9?
That was 7.
8, 7. Okay, number 6 is the last one. Have you? And this isn't the movie, but have you guys seen the movie? What is it called? 43, where it has
movie 43,
where it's got the balls on its chest.
Yeah, movie 43.
Is he a Balchinian?
It's that movie is one of those. Is another movie where they have an incredible cast, but very few people have ever heard of the movie, and arguably the movie's not really that well done. You know what I'm saying? It's
Talking about movie 43.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it's not really.
It's you know
what I mean?
It's a tongue-in-cheek movie.
It is, yeah. This next movie is like that as well. It's got three people in it that you would think people would know and have seen the movie, but it's one of these movies. And I purposely put movies on here. I was telling Tach, because he knows so many movies that I like. I purposely put movies on here that he didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
And this is one of them. It's called Jen, Jill, and a Gigolo.
Huh.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Jen,
It's
Jill,
got
and a Gigolo.
Ferris Patton in it. I don't know if you know who Ferris Patton is.
I know the name.
She's the Orbit girl from the Orbit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's got her in it and a girl named Elizabeth Smith, who's another British actress.
Okay.
And it's got a guy named James Grint in it. Does he sound familiar?
Kinda.
He's that redheaded kid from Harry Potter. He's his brother.
Oh, okay.
A Weasley?
Yeah,
Well, not his, I mean, his real brother, not
his brother in real
Rupert
life.
Grint's. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rupert Grint's brother.
So it's not really that high of a budget movie, but
Well, neither was Harry Potter.
no. Yeah. This guy James Grint, his character, after being disowned for coming out of the closet for being gay, his name is Steve, and he's down on his luck. Meets two fledgling British models in New York City, which is played by the other two girls, who mistake him for a fashion photographer. Thinking he's being hired as a male prostitute, he goes along with it and takes the opportunity to make money. Little does he know, the blondes from across the pond only have plans to sleep their way into the fashion world, but are quickly foiled when they find out that he's not a photographer nor straight. But when the truth comes out, this is taken from online. The unlikely trio finds success in the most unlikely of places. It's a very stupid movie. The acting is horrible, but it's a surprising quoting movie, and it's entertaining if you're kind of sick or bored. So,
Speaking of movies that have really good stars but ended up not being very good, two of the funniest comedians in my childhood made a movie together that turned out to be the biggest hunk of shit I've ever seen in my life. So Steve Martin and what's the guy who played in and Eddie Murphy.
I've seen that movie. That movie was horrible. That's an example of what happens when you have two strong people in a movie and you don't have anybody for them to play off of.
Two mega stars. Yeah. And it was so bad.
Look how good Jim Carrey did with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a good example. But
Yeah.
but if you were to put, Jim Carrey in a movie with like, I don't know, Jamie Foxx or somebody, it would probably suck. Or Adam Sandler. It'd be a horrible movie.
Yeah. I thought about that last night when I was watching that movie, Adam Sandler with, who?
Oh, you're talking about the whatever six, what's it called?
Ridiculous Six.
Ridiculous Six.
I watched that last night.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. To be honest,
It's surprising how good it is.
I went into it with a very low expectation
So
because
did
of
I.
how bad of
And the
press it got.
first scene was awful.
It was.
The first scene was bad, yeah.
And I was like, they just need to cut that part out. That'll make somebody shut it off.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people have because of that first scene.
I wanted to see Adam Sandler with something. It doesn't matter. All right.
But this movie that I was just talking about, like, it doesn't really have a whole lot of other people in it. Because a lot of the movie is just those three people. The other lady, Elizabeth Smith, she hasn't really been on a whole lot of stuff. She's done mostly modeling over in England. This girl, Ferris Patton, though, you would think that they would throw in some kind of, because of the style of movie, you'd think they'd throw in some kind of Orbit reference, you know what I mean? Or something about being a clean mouth or something like that, but they didn't really say anything like that. They didn't make any reference to Harry Potter.
All right, cool. So let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to hear something about a turkey or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
A turkey.
I don't know.
Gobble, gobble.
All right.
All right, we'll be back.
Hey, this is Adam. This week's Twisted 10 is brought to you by just Tach and myself. We don't have a sponsor for this week's show. So Tach and I have been talking a lot about having sponsorships in our podcast, weighing the pros and the cons. We're a big fan of having more content than advertising. So as opposed to listening to a radio show where 40% of your time that you're listening to the show is built around sponsorships, Tach and I think that the content delivery is far more important. While the delivery of content of a podcast is paramount to the success of the show, sometimes you gotta have sponsors to help cover some of the bills. While we do have two sponsors currently for both of our shows, that's the Twisted 10, which is this show, and Living Podcariously, which is another show that Tach and I produce, a little bit more raw and rough. We do have some opportunities that are coming up for other sponsors. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor of the Twisted 10 or Living Podcariously, shoot us an email at show@livingpodcariously.com, and we'll get back with you with the contract details. All right, welcome back to the Twisted 10. This week is our special week. We've got Jimmy in here giving us the top 10 Jimmy Klein's movies from his genre generation that we're impacting to his life. How long do we want to make this title tag?
It's kind of a running gag. We always, throughout the show, we're like, so it's this Twisted 10... And there's a lot of T's in one episode. We did Tach's Twisted 10, 10, something or other.
All right. So run us through, if you don't mind, the titles of the first 5 again.
Okay. First one was Better Off Dead.
Number 10.
John Cusack film. I'm sorry, number 10 was John Cusack film, Better Off Dead. And number 9 is a second John Cusack film, One Crazy Summer. Number 8 is a Korean horror movie called The Audition. Number 7 is, I believe, a Japanese film that I'm having trouble pronouncing, Kira Odasan.
Sounded good to me.
There you go. And number 6 is an obscure film called Jen, Jill, and a Gigolo.
Gotcha.
Cool.
All right, number 5. I believe we were going to talk about Turkey or something.
Close, yeah. It's a movie called Poultrygeist.
Okay. I've never seen it. I know the name, though.
I have never seen it either.
This movie is, I wrote down the summary. Some fast food workers discover the restaurant they work in is built on an ancient Indian burial ground.
Of course.
And the chickens they cook are trying to kill them.
Of course.
But what makes the movie interesting is it's also a musical.
Like Little Shop of Horrors?
And there's one scene where the guy actually consumes the chicken. And it turns into a zombie, comes back to kill him, but comes out through his butt.
This is my kind of movie, Tach.
There's a scene where he's in the bathroom in this restaurant, like basically pooping out a human-sized chicken. It's such a great movie, and it has more nudity in it than really needs to be in one movie.
Jimmy, you're selling it to me, buddy.
And then I think there's
already
also,
had me a chicken coming out of a butt.
and then also I want to say the main character's girlfriend comes out of the closet and breaks up with him, and so there's a lot of just like pointless like lesbian type scenes, like where they're naked and stuff. Like I'm not trying to like.
Jimmy, let me stop you right there. There's no such thing as a pointless lesbian
That's
scene.
a good point. Yeah. But there's only one notable name in the movie. And I got a feeling the two of you are going to be like, sold. The only person that I even recognize the name was Ron Jeremy. That's in this movie. Although it's not a hardcore porn. I would probably classify it as soft porn.
The hedgehog himself.
Judging just by how much nudity is in this film. But it's an extremely entertaining film. I definitely wouldn't watch it with kids in the room. But yeah.
Nice.
Is Ron Jeremy like a main character or just like a walk-on?
I want to say he's one of the supporting characters. Put that one.
Ron Jeremy never walks onto a film. He swings onto a film.
Yeah, he does.
Just saying.
He limps, and it's because his balance is thrown off.
To kind of take us off base of that for a little bit, but still on topic of Ron Jeremy, have you seen Ron Jeremy in his latter days of porn?
No, I saw a couple where he was just kind of standing there watching. He wasn't really participating.
So Ron Jeremy stopped doing porn. I don't know how many years ago now. I don't know. He looks just beaten up and horrible. But the guy's got a massive unit. No, there's no question about that. But as he got older, he got less, how should I put it? So it's not too over the top.
Hard.
Less ability to retain his erection.
Yeah.
So he has to fucking, while he's doing his scene and doing his job, he has to hold the base. Like, if that's it, he has to hold it and like keep the blood in it so it wouldn't go anywhere. Otherwise, it's
It's kind of like when you have one of those, animal balloons and there's like a pinhole at the base of it, so you got to pinch it so that all the air stays inside.
Yes, exactly. He also did the parody of "I Come in Like a Wrecking Ball." Miley Cyrus. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, this is YouTubeable. You can YouTube this. Look for Ron Jeremy Wrecking Ball. Just do that search by itself and watch the video. It is, the Wrecking Ball song, right? In the video where she's swinging on the sledgehammer and she's banging and she licks this is Ron Jeremy's version of that. And he's in whitey tighties on a wrecking ball.
Nice.
Yes, it's not a very pretty sight, but it is fucking hilarious. And Ron Jeremy's look, I got a little belly. I'm okay with that. Ron Jeremy's belly button looks like it was shot by a fucking 12 gauge and skin graft from his ass. So I apologize if he had a real medical problem, but this thing looks atrocious. So it isn't like it used to be back in the days of his good porn.
So it's not one of those sexy belly button that you see on most men. This is like a nasty belly button.
Look, I wouldn't lick Ron Jeremy's belly button for 100,000. Well, all right, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't lick his belly button for
for $1. I wouldn't.
So basically-
I wouldn't do it for $1. I'll agree with that.
Basically, you wouldn't even lick his belly button if somebody sprinkled Fun Dip in it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't do that.
What if it's the apple Fun Dip?
That's pretty good stuff, though. Wait a minute.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Moral dilemma I'm in now. Tach would do it for a couple quarters and a handy.
That's true.
Maybe.
He's done it.
Wait, you are kind of desperate right now, wouldn't you? Have you done worse for a couple quarters and a handy?
I'm desperate for some action and money, so.
Oh, you could probably have sex with Ron Jeremy's belly button. I should probably cut that out. All right. Sorry, we completely diverged.
Oh, man.
All right, sorry, Jimmy. Back to your
Poultrygeist, gotcha.
Poultrygeist, yes. So that's Rotten Tomatoes. The audience scored that 64%.
Should be 69%. I mean, come on. It
It's-
should be
it's
69%.
And the next two are of the next three are of the horror genre.
So this would be 4, 3, and 2.
Correct.
Same genre.
Well,
okay.
this one, Poultrygeist, was 5. 4, 3, and 2 are all of the horror genre as well.
Oh, horror
Right.
genre. Okay.
The next one is a movie that, if you have not seen this movie, you're just not a person. You know what I mean? Like, you have no soul. It's just that easy. And I think Tach already knows by his giggle what movie I'm
I
talking
don't know.
about.
Number 4 is.
Yeah. Troll 2.
Oh yeah.
Troll
God, I can't believe I wasn't even thinking
You
that.
got
Never seen that.
If no, I mean, if nothing else, it's kind of like, I don't know. There's no way to describe it. It's one of those things where, like, it's a coming of age. You got to see this movie.
Gotta
you know
see
what I mean?
it.
Just
Is
to say you did it.
Is it a comedy horror or is it just a?
Yes.
Well, it's not
Well-
supposed to be.
Well, there's a couple of scenes in it that I think they're supposed to be. aren't
Maybe,
they?
possibly,
Like
but
the whole belt scene, like that's supposed to be funny.
well, what's interesting about the film is, the idea for the film started from the director's wife. She's one of these intense vegans. And if you ever know a vegan, they're
Oh, yeah.
pretty intense about it. Like, you know, like the joke, you know, an atheist and a vegan walk into a bar, everybody knew within like 3 minutes. You know?
Yeah.
Well, she's an intense vegan, and she thought it was, I guess, I don't know if you want to say racist, for lack of a better term, but that there wasn't a vampire story for vegetarians or vegans, right? So
Interesting.
yeah, and so that's where the whole heart of this film came out, and it was a genuine thing for her. Like, she really was concerned about all this. Her husband went on record multiple times saying he would put this up with Gone with the Wind, with The Godfather. He thinks, in his mind, this is one of the top 5 films of all time.
Really? So
And
Gone with the Wind, I got it. Godfather, I never really liked.
What makes the movie
I am
so
that
funny
guy.
is you can tell that the actors, the directing, everything, they were trying 1,000%. Like, they were really trying with this, and that's what makes the movie so funny. It's kind of like that TV show, Tackling on what I'm talking about, where they had it's like American Idol style, but they purposely picked people that sucked. But they were filling their heads.
Yeah.
They were filling their heads with stuff like, you know, that kick you did. That was, oh man, that made the. And they have these guys that they're really thinking they're good and they suck, and at the very end they pretty much tell them they suck.
Yeah. So
Well, that mentality, like people trying even though they suck, is this whole film. Like, that's the whole.
Is that a parody for our podcasts, Tach? We try so hard, but we suck so bad.
like what Troll 2 was great about this movie is, okay, the acting is terrible.
Yeah. Directing's terrible.
Directing is terrible. Script is bad.
Cinematography ain't that good for its time period and what they had to work with.
The special effects terrible. But here's what makes it great. Everything I just said. Okay.
Yeah.
And then also made in the 80s.
Yes.
This is what also makes it great. Made in the 80s. And what's funny, like there's a line in it that I think was supposed to be funny.
Okay.
It's the scene. Okay, there's a scene where this little boy, I'm not going to say what he does, but he does something bad at the dinner table. And so his dad says, "Get to your room. You know, there'll be no dessert for you," or something like that. Or no, I don't know. But the kid did something wrong to where it ruined dinner, you know. And so they couldn't eat. So the mom had to like make something else now. So the kid goes to the room and the dad like takes him to the room. I think carries him to the bedroom, right? Carries his little kid to the bedroom, throws him down on the bed. And he's like, and the kid goes, "What are you going to do to me, Daddy?" And because he's starting to take off his belt, you know, or it appears to be. And he goes, "What are you going to do to me, Daddy?" Or something like that. And he's like, "Nothing. I'm tightening my belt because," and what is the line?
It says, to something like, "I'm tightening my belt one more notch, to to stop hunger pangs. I suggest you do the same. Yeah, but I don't think that was supposed to be funny. I think the director thought that was going to be a really powerful moment. Like,
because it looks like he's taking his belt off to beat him.
It's true. It does,
and then he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I'm tightening my belt so I don't feel hunger pains." You know?
And there's a quote right before that. That's like the quote of the movie. You know, it's where he says, we won't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it." Yeah. Anyways, but I'll read the summary of the movie. When young Joshua, played by Michael Stevenson, none of these actors.
Don't even bother saying actors. They're all nobodies.
The lead guy in the film is like a dentist in Georgia now. And he was like the lead guy in the film. Young Joshua learns that he will be going on vacation with his family to a small town called Nilbog. He protests adamantly. He is warned by the spirit of his deceased grandfather that goblins populate the town. His parents, Michael, played by George Hardy, and Diane, played by Margot Prey, dismiss his apprehensions, but soon learn to appreciate their son's warnings. Guided by his grandfather's ghost, will Joshua and his family stand a fighting chance of fighting off these evil beings? Basically, in a nutshell, these goblins are vegetarian. So they feed you chlorophyll, right? So they'll bring over like a cheesecake that's green, or any of the food is green. Once you start eating this stuff they give you, gradually from the inside out, you start turning into a plant.
Holy shit.
Once you turn into a plant, then they can eat you because they're vegetarian.
Now here's what's great about this movie too. Also, this movie has a huge cult following.
Huge.
Yeah, you're talking like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Like there is the annual events. People like play this movie somewhere, and people come out dressed as characters. I mean, it's like
act out the parts like Rocky Horror.
Oh,
yeah. It's like a big deal, and a lot of these actors will show up at these events that were in the movie.
I gotta be honest. First time I saw a Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was 16 when I saw it for the first time. 16, 15, something like that. I thought it was ridiculous. Yeah, as a kid, of course, thought it was ridiculous. But then a couple years later, I went with a girlfriend to see it live perform.
Mm-hmm. That's different.
Whole new respect for the movie after seeing these loony bins doing this kind of shit in the theater. But it was still kind of cool.
Well, there's a documentary about this movie.
Great documentary. Yeah.
Is it called The Best Worst Film Ever Made?
Yeah, Best Worst Film Ever Made.
Yeah, something like that. It used to be on Netflix. They both used to be on Netflix. Troll 2 and this documentary.
But yeah, in the documentary they talk about it, and they say the guy George Hardy was contacted, asked, we're gonna show the film in a theater, and we want you to come and watch it with the audience and do a question and answer session afterwards. And he said, well, it's one of the worst movies ever made. Like, why would you show that in a theater now? It's been out for years. And the guy told him, well, it sold out in 20 minutes when we announced that we were showing the film.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, what? So he shows up, gets a complete rock star welcome. The theater, and this is a New York City theater. It's not just a regular theater.
Which guy are you talking about?
George Hardy.
Who's that?
He's the father.
The dad?
Yeah.
He loves like the cult following
he's
of this
totally
movie.
into it now, but
he loves it.
He walks in, total rock star welcome. Him and a couple of other people. And the theater sold out. There's people dressed like characters from the movie, and all.
Damn.
People are talking along with the film and like quoting it and all this kind of stuff. And then there's other little things throughout the film as well. Like in one of the scenes, like Tach, I'm talking about, there's this guy that they meet in town. He's kind of the head of kind of like the spokesperson for these goblins. He's kind of a crazy guy. And when you watch the film, you kind of get you know which guy I'm talking about, right? The guy that seems like he's insane, like he's crazy. He's one of the town persons.
I can't remember.
Well, anyway, you kind of get the feeling watching it, like that dude, like looks like he's genuinely crazy. He had gotten out of a psychiatric hospital 2 days prior to filming.
Holy shit.
And so like there's things like that when you learn about the film, you're just like, what in the hell? The girl that played the mom is now in a psychiatric hospital because she had problems even when they were filming. But it's hands down one of the best films ever. Like you gotta watch this movie.
All right.
One of the greatest things about the documentary is like somebody was interviewing the director, and I said, "Why did you call this movie Troll 2?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Why is this film called Troll 2?" And he's like, "I don't understand what you're asking." And he's like, "This movie had nothing to do with trolls. Like, there's no trolls in this movie.
Well, there is a Troll 1.
Yeah, there is a Troll 1.
But it has nothing at all to do with this movie. Nothing. Not even the same universe.
And so he was like, there's no trolls in this movie. There are goblins in this movie. There's no troll. And the director looked really kind of annoyed and like, how dare you talk about this?
Challenge my naming convention for my movie. Yeah.
And he was just like one of those, shut up, you're stupid kind of an answer. It's like, it just was
Well, then
funny.
the answer to that turned out to be he needed a way to put out the movie. So he bought into the franchise of Troll so he could call it Troll 2 so that people would watch it thinking it's a sequel to Troll 1.
What did the fans of Troll 1 think?
They hated it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is 44%. But when I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, I think Rotten Tomatoes score was like 4%.
Oh,
Like, it was-
God damn.
Like and that's why they call the documentary the best worst movie ever made.
That may be
because
the
it
worst
was-
score I've ever seen on Rotten
It
Tomatoes.
was for a while. It was the worst on Rotten Tomatoes, like hands down the bottom one. But it's such a great film. Like within the first 20 minutes, you're gonna be laughing your ass off. Like there's one scene where a girl, I think during taping, she was 16. They have her dancing in front of a mirror. Right?
That's so funny.
During taping, she felt very, very self-conscious and uncomfortable the way they wanted her to dance. This Italian director who's in his 50s said, I think I know more about how American girls dance than you do. So you just need to do what I'm asking you to
teenage
do.
American
And
girls
she's a
dance.
16-year-old American
She's a
girl.
teenage American girl. No, this is how teenage American girls dance. And she's like, no. And he's like, yeah. And he made her do it.
Yeah. It's
It's a little
hands
creepy.
down the
It's
best film on this list.
It's such a funny dance scene
Yeah.
because it's so stupid. Now, Jimmy told me to watch this movie forever. And finally, I was like, all right, fine. So I finally watched it.
You're like, fine.
And I was like, oh my God. It was so... And then I let my kids watch it.
Yeah.
My daughters loved the freaking movie. They
Really?
loved it. Yes. They were like, that is awesome. I love that movie.
Like, if you ever have a group of people over and you're just kind of sitting around drinking and stuff like that, you're like, you know what, guys, I got an idea. Let's watch Troll 2. I'm telling you, it'll be a hit. You'll have people want
Especially be like people that like to hack movies and just
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
why would you even do that? This is the movie for them.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Good
It
recommendation.
was on Netflix for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not. anymore.
It's not anymore?
I don't think so.
I have Netflix and news groups. So
Well, I'm sure one of the news groups probably have it. Because it has such a big following.
if it's that big of a cult following, I guarantee it's out there then, yeah.
I'm sure if you
No
look it up
question.
online, you're going to find
Andrea-
hundreds and hundreds and thousands of different...
Andrea has one of these websites too that she watches some even like brand new releases.
Yeah,
and I'll have to ask her what it is.
So yeah, Troll 2 is definitely a must-see film.
Okay.
By a long
What number
shot.
was that?
That was
this
4.
number 4, yeah.
We still have 3 and 2 of the same genre.
Oh,
and then
that's
it's
right.
number 1 at the
Okay,
end.
good. Number 3.
Number 3 is a film that, again, Tach has heard of, but I don't think he's seen. It's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
It's called Zombies.
I saw it.
You did see it?
Yeah.
Like AHH zombies?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Ah.
And for years, me and Tach would have
Zombies.
conversations, and I told him I would love to write a script from the zombies' perspective. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's a good
because
call.
there's a writer out there. He takes stories and he flips them on their head, like he did it with Wizard of Oz. And it's a musical and a book you've probably heard. It's called Wicked. He did it with Cinderella, called Confessions of a Wicked Stepsister, and he's done it with a few other where basically he turns everything on its head. Like with the Wizard of Oz one, turns out the Wicked Witch, whose name is Elphaba, is trying to let everybody know that everybody has powers. She's not the only one. She's just demonstrating the powers that she has.
Huh.
And when she does cast spells on people like the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, she's trying to protect him. Like the Scarecrow, she was trying to keep him from getting hurt. And so there's a whole different storyline where it turns out Glenda is manipulating everybody into
Really?
thinking that she's the only one with power when the Wicked Witch is trying to let everybody know that you all have powers, that kind of stuff. And
That's
then with
awesome.
Confessions of a Wicked Stepsister, it's the Wicked Stepsister saying how lying and manipulative Cinderella is and made everybody think that they were abusing her when they really weren't.
Those bitches.
Yeah. And so anyways, I always wanted to see a zombie film with that same mentality. Like, let's flip it on its head and make humans the bad guys. You know what I mean? And make,
Have sympathy for the
zombies, the protagonist, and the humans, the antagonist. And so this film kind of does that, but it does it very tongue in cheek and it's very kind of silly and goofy and everything. But it says, the summary is, turning the zombie film on its head. This film is an oddball comedy from the perspective of the brain-munching monsters themselves.
Huh.
And what it does is,
I wonder how they get the angle of them having to eat either brains or just eat people. How do they turn that into something that's comical or funny from the zombies' perspective?
that just right off the get-go, the look of the film, whenever they show the zombies, it's in black and white. From when you're from their perspective, they're in black and white, and everybody around them is like in fast forward. Everybody's moving extremely quickly. You can't understand what they're saying because they sound like chipmunks, but it's faster than the chipmunks. It's like, and everybody's running around and everything. So if somebody comes up and wants to punch you, like you can't even see him coming. It's like watching The Flash or something.
Huh.
But then when they show from the human's perspective, it turns out zombies aren't moaning. They're just talking really slow and you can't understand what they're saying.
Oh, that's a cool twist.
And when they show the human's perspective, it's in color. Zombie perspective, it's in black and white. And so it's basically them trying to figure out what's wrong with them. You know, they understand that there's something wrong, but they don't know what. They think it's some kind of...
They think something's wrong with the people.
Yeah. They think that everybody has some kind of virus and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they're trying to go up and trying to, like, they'll grab onto somebody to try to hold them still and try to talk to them. But from the human perspective, it's them coming up, grabbing them, trying to do something.
The zombie is trying to attack them, you know.
Yeah.
Well, one of the funniest scenes in it that I thought was hilarious was, I think, you know, I'm talking about the restaurant scene where they were like, they know some of these people went into this restaurant, or the military or whatever went into this restaurant. So they're hiding out. It's like, we need to go in there, but we can't just walk in there. Let's get in disguises. And so they try to dress up like they're the waiter or whatever, you know. So some guy put like a chef's coat on. Where I think he had a fake mustache or something too.
So, yeah.
And he has the tray and all that. He's like, okay, I'm just going to go out there and maybe I can listen to hear what they're talking about. Just kind of blend in, you know. And then so he goes out there and like, okay, be careful. It's like, all right. So you see him like sneak out there and walk out there. Then it switches to the human perspective. And it's basically like a zombie walking, like carrying a tray. And it's just so funny. It's hilarious. It's a really interesting take on it.
So far, I've only seen, I think, 2, maybe 3 of these movies that you've recommended.
Yeah, this one is a really good film. The audience rating for Rotten Tomatoes was 56%, so it scored higher than Troll 2. Not really saying much. There was only a couple of notable people, not even really notable. Matthew Davis. He, I don't know, Tach has seen this movie, Legally Blonde.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
The guy that played the boyfriend.
Yeah.
He plays one of the zombies in it. And a guy named Richard Rell, Rehle is his last name. I didn't recognize him, but he has 347 film credits. He was in Office Space. He was the guy that, he's the guy that's the go-between between the engineers and the customer.
I'm a people person.
Yeah, that guy. He's in it as well. It's a pretty entertaining movie. If you had to choose between Troll 2 or Zombies, I would obviously pick Troll 2. But
well,
I would say it's, as far as entertainment value, it's right up there with Troll 2.
I respect the especially coming from the 4 of you guys from Taint Funny. Any of the movies you guys are recommending, or any of the media that you guys have recommended so far, I've gone out and absorbed.
Have you?
So, like the
anything
podcast,
you've been disappointed at, or no? I wouldn't say disappointed, but it was like,
No, not so much.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, the most entertaining so far has been the podcast you put me on to.
That's cool. Right?
I don't remember the Pointless podcast. I've been listening to that. They've got so many episodes; it's kind of hard to listen to them all. But I've listened to a bunch of those.
That other one that I was talking about with the guys from Impractical Jokers, that's pretty funny too.
Yeah, I forgot to tune into that. Now that you talked about it earlier, I'm gonna have to download those and listen to those. But no, I'm gonna listen to I'm gonna watch every movie that you've got on this list that I haven't seen so far. Next week, maybe in the next Living Podcast or in the next Twisted 10, I'll come back with a book report for you.
The next one is the last one of the horror ones, or there was other horror ones for these horrors. Number 2 is a little gem called Zombievers, and I've talked about this a lot.
Come again?
Yeah, Zombievers.
Zombievers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen it on Netflix. I just haven't watched it yet.
Gratuitous nudity?
Yeah.
Yes.
One girl just happens to lose her bathing suit top, and they don't really explain it, but they go on for like 10 minutes without it.
That's perfect.
But it's just like you'd think. It's about these 3 girls decide, you know what, we need a girls' weekend. We just need screw guys. And so they go to this log cabin out in the woods. And people are kind of acting like that. People are like, well, did you come out here? Blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that the beavers in the pond next to them are zombies, and they're like zombie beavers, you know? And so once night falls,
it's in the name.
So once night falls and these zombie beavers like start looking, you know, to eat or whatever, they of course run to the shelter of their log cabin, which obviously really doesn't do very much because it's a log cabin and they're beavers. And you find out a little bit into the film that if you get bitten by one of these zombie beavers, you turn into a zombie beaver. And there's one scene, it's a little mean, but it's these 2 girls. One of them sort of kind of has a secret crush on the other girl. and this one girl walks in the room, and I want to say she only has underwear on, and she climbs on the bed, and she's climbing, like crawling up the bed like she's gonna make out with this girl, and this girl's kind of getting all excited and everything. And all of a sudden, these big teeth come out of her mouth.
Oh, you can cuss on this show.
Big beaver teeth come out of her mouth.
Oh my
and,
God.
yeah, she ends up turning into a zombie beaver. But then their boyfriends show up, and there's a couple of gratuitous sex scenes that are obviously like if you ever see one of the scary movies with Charlie Sheen, and it's a scene like that. Like, it's that ridiculous.
We're running through the woods afraid of whatever's chasing us, but let's stop and bang on these pile of leaves.
Pretty much, yeah.
My kind of movie, man. I'm just saying.
It's such a good movie. It's you can't really take it very seriously because it is zombie beavers after a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, Sharknado kind of thing.
Never saw that. I've purposely not watched that movie.
I've seen the first one.
There's only one notable person in it, and it was a surprising notable person. I was like, oh my God.
Tara Reid.
It's John Mayer.
John Mayer?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, he's in the beginning and the end of it. He plays a truck driver. They don't explain why. They don't say why he's in it.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Must have been a friend to somebody.
I guess, yeah. Rotten Tomato audience.
Let me just tell the two of you, if you guys ever get to the point where you're producing big-ass movies like this, well, I don't know how big Zombie Beaver is, but I will play the extra truck driver in your movie.
There you go. Right on.
I will do
Done.
I would like to have gratuitous sex, but that's irrelevant.
We'll fit it in somehow.
Perfect.
We'll find some guy
that's what I said. I'll fit it in. And I heard your gay reference. I caught that.
Yeah.
I heard it.
I like to slide them under the radar so afterwards you're listening going, what the hell when he said that? The audience score for this one was 32%, so it's one of the lower ones.
Damn, another gratuitous sex, and it's not scored 69.
God, it's such a good movie. It really is. It's a very entertaining movie. So, like, my background is coming, and this is a segue, or as John would say, a segue, into the next film. But my background a lot is a lot of scripts and a lot of Shakespeare and a lot of musicals, and so when you're doing scripts like that caliber, like it's really hard to take any movies really that seriously. And so I tend to flock towards ridiculous movies because they're not even trying to compete with that. They're on a whole, you know what I mean? So there's something appealing about it.
Creative freedom of a movie that is fun.
But this next film is a film that very few people have heard of.
The last one.
This is number one?
This is number one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Now, was this isn't in particular order, right?
This isn't in particular order, but I will say this one is probably, I'd say probably my favorite one on this list.
Okay.
Oh, all right, cool. So it's officially number one.
Everybody that I've let watch this likes it as well.
I hope that I haven't seen this. Seriously.
Tach has not seen the movie, but I'll explain that reference in a second. It's called The Complete Works of William Shakespeare Abridged.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I haven't seen this.
It's three guys.
What do you mean, like, I've seen the movie?
Yeah, I'll explain. No,
is this like
okay.
Is this like a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern kind of twist on Shakespeare?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
But what they do is it's three guys. One guy came from Ringling Brothers, so he's a very circusy type of guy, and then there's two other guys that both wrote the scripts.
Okay.
And it's they do all of William Shakespeare's works in about a couple of hours.
Oh wow.
And it's done very tongue in cheek, and the Reduced Shakespeare Company they've done quite a few shows. They do the Bible abridged. They do all the great books abridged. They do sports abridged, and they do a bunch of different. I think they do world religion abridged, American history abridged, and they basically take a subject like that and they condense it down and make fun of it. That's basically what they do.
Okay.
And with this one, they're of the belief that Shakespeare's tragedies are a lot funnier than his comedies, because the comedies really, if you study Shakespeare, the comedies are exactly the same, repeated over and over again. He takes a formula and he just keeps doing it.
I have a question. Like, when you said I haven't seen the movie, is it something other than the movie that I've seen?
Yeah, you saw the live version.
So there's a different version.
No, I was in the live version. You came and watched it.
Yes, I know, but I've seen the DVD movie.
Oh, you have?
I have it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay. No, so Tech has seen it.
Yeah, I did. This girl, and I showed it to her. She freaking loved it and watched it a billion times. Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's so one of these things where your first instinct is, I'm not really a very big Shakespeare fan. I don't think it's going to be.
Doesn't matter.
You don't have to be a Shakespeare fan at all. By the end of it, you'll have a complete understanding of Shakespeare, and you won't even realize that you enjoyed Shakespeare.
I love Shakespeare. I did Hamlet, and
I did Hamlet.
I hate Hamlet.
I did Hamlet.
Did you?
Who'd you play in Hamlet?
I played Hamlet.
Oh, you and Ron.
What? And I also played Hamlet in I Hate Hamlet, which wasn't the star. He was a minor role.
Me and Ron were in Hamlet, and Ron played Hamlet also.
Really? Ron played Hamlet?
Yeah. Huh. I played Horatio. So which is Hamlet's best friend, just so you know.
In Romeo and Juliet, I played the priest.
In the porn version, it's called fellatio. But yeah, the complete works of William Shakespeare. It's like a pretty ingenious script. You know what I mean? And when they first come out, the guys they kind of play themselves and they're kind of bumbling idiots and everything. But I will say when they start doing the Shakespeare, they're as good as any Shakespeare actor I've ever seen. Like they're that good.
Sweet.
And that really adds to the legitimacy of the
credibility.
Because when you see the Shakespeare, it's very true Shakespeare, and they can snap in and out of the Shakespeare in a split second to make fun of it and all this, and that's what kind of works and makes the film.
Done.
But
I'll watch that.
Really, he's got a copy of it. It's a really, really good
To
film.
bring it over here next time you come over.
But we did.
I don't even know where it is, but yeah.
I was in Shakespeare Abridged, and I was in All the Great Books Abridged.
Sweet.
In fact, for a long time, Crazy Coach, my friend Mike. That's what your daughter's called. Anyways.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So that was number one. That was
very cool.
Last one on the screen.
Cool. So you said something about a twist?
Yeah, there was a twist.
Okay.
Not all these are real films.
None of them are?
No, not all of them are.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
So you have one in there that's fake?
Yeah, there's a fake film in there.
What?
Ooh.
Yes.
Run through the list again.
But I know like most of those films.
I know 2 are.
Better Off Dead.
10 and 9 I know are
One Crazy
real.
Summer.
Okay.
The Audition. Kiro Oda-san. Jen, Jill, and a Gigolo. Poultrygeist. Troll 2. Zombies. Zombievers. And Complete Works of William Shakespeare Bridge.
Ooh.
What the hell?
Just because I don't know it, I'm going to go with the Asian name movie. I'll guess that one.
Whatever the one with the 3 names.
Jen, Jill, and a
Jen, Jill,
Gigolo?
and a Gigolo. Yeah, that's completely made up.
Is it? Damn it.
I made that up off the top of my head.
You
It's pretty when I was
motherfucker.
writing this down. And
good,
yeah,
though.
I
That's
tried to
good.
look up actors that were obscure that people didn't know.
No, that's pretty good
Yeah.
though.
But
Nice.
there's also a twist on the twist.
Oh, okay.
There's another film in this list that is a real storyline, but it's actually a Shakespeare show. It's not an actual film. Yeah. It was never made into a film, but it is a real storyline, and it is a
So there's
Shakespeare
another fake.
show.
Fake.
That's correct. Yeah.
Is it what he said? His guess?
The Kirasa Odasu?
Yeah, Kira Oda-san actually means killer dad in Japanese. Killer father.
Really?
So you were like faking when you're like, I don't know how to say this.
Yeah. But it's actually
He's good at this.
It's actually the storyline to Titus Andronicus, which is a Shakespeare show.
Really?
That really is the storyline to the show.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back, edit in post, and then try to figure out which ones were like, no, let me scratch that one out. I don't need to look that one up to watch later. Holy shit.
I
That's
can't
cool.
find this Curious Autosound one, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it's really
impressive.
only 8.
That was good. You sold it very, very well, though.
Snotter, buddy.
There you go.
That,
an inside
and I'll
joke.
have to say, out of the Twisted Tens episodes that we've got so far, that was probably the best twist on any of the top 10 lists.
Twist of a twist.
Yeah, that was probably the best twist that we've had so far.
Now you know why I was up till 4 a.m. Because I was up researching Shakespeare. I wanted to get the storyline right.
Dude, that was good.
Nice.
That was fucking awesome.
In the
All right.
Shakespeare version, he bakes it into a pie. That's why I said it's like a chicken pot pie.
Yeah.
He bakes it into a pie and feeds it to the killer's mom.
Oh, shit.
But what's impressive about Shakespeare is there's 2 different Shakespeare shows that I know that addresses interracial marriage. Like that one, because
Othello.
they make it a point to say that her boyfriend is a black guy.
A more.
And then Othello as well, which is, I mean, I'm surprised nobody's done modern versions of Othello because it's basically about.
Well, there's a very modern version
there?
of Othello with the actress and actor you see almost all the time that are in the biracial relationships. They used to do, I don't remember her name, the little blonde, cute blonde chick that is, for whatever reason, and this is probably the early 2000s, she did a bunch of these movies where she was with a black guy in the movie.
Okay.
I gotta look her up real quick.
I think I know who. I can picture her face, but I can't.
Yeah, she's really cute. Oh, God. She's
But just
really
just
cute.
the thought of like, this girl's married to a black guy, somebody gets killed, and they automatically assume it's the black guy. It's like, I can't believe they had those problems like in the 1500s or whatever. So yeah, but I can't believe that Titus Andronicus. I think it was written in like 1547 or something like that. It's like, how did he come up with those kind of storylines? But anyways,
But I digress.
Yeah, Othello, 1995. Oliver Parker directed it. 1 second. I'll find the actor and actress. Oh, no, it's not that 95 one.
I thought that was a clever name, though. Jen, Jill, and a Gigolo. It just sounds like it'd be like...
No, I
legit, you know?
totally bought it.
You know what? It wasn't called Othello. It was called O.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Oh, with it's a black cast, right?
No.
Oh, what movie am I thinking of?
Maybe it wasn't called O. Oh, yeah, that's it. Julia Stiles.
Julia Stiles, that's who it is.
Yeah.
Horse
'Cause she did that
Teeth.
one
That's right,
dance
Horse Teeth.
movie with Tay Diggs, I think.
Yeah, she did a bunch of dance movies.
Yeah.
And again, it's a lot of, for whatever reason, she was in the biracial, just whatever. That for however she got casted or selected or whatever, that's the movies that she.
Well, it's like Morgan Freeman always plays God.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman is God.
That's true.
Yep.
Well, cool, man. So, how can listeners get a hold of you? Where can they go?
The easiest way is to either go on Facebook or the Taint Funny website. Boom.
Which is what?
TaintFunnyPodcast.com.
Awesome. Okay, and also check out Taint Funny, which can be
Definitely,
found on
yeah.
iTunes and
iTunes and Stitcher.
anywhere podcatchers play podcasts.
Podcatchers?
Yep. Podcatchers. That's any app that listens to podcasts that you can download podcasts through.
Yeah.
You don't have that on Apple products. You have that. That's only for Androids. It's
Actually, they have.
podcatchers.
I don't know why, but they have Stitcher for Apple products.
Oh, really?
I don't know why
Yeah.
they would. I don't know why they
I
would.
have
but
it on my phone. Yeah.
Some people like it better. Some people like Stitcher better than
I
iTunes.
don't. I prefer iTunes.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a good listen. I like that it was. I like that it was themed for Taint Funny, kind of for movies and that genre and stuff like that. You did a really good twist.
Right
So
on.
we want to have you back in here again. Maybe you can do something
Definitely,
for comic books or musicians.
What would be interesting
or,
is to come back in and revisit it when you've watched them.
done.
That would be awesome. That'd be pretty cool.
I'll have them. I'll most likely have them all done within a week. I'll have all the movies watched. So next week we'll have that done. But yeah, dude, we would love to have you back in here, Jimmy. Thank you for doing that list.
definitely,
That rocked. That helped me and Tach not have to do any homework this week.
That or we can try to shoot Jill, Jew, and Jen,
Jill, Jew?
Jen, Jill, and a Gigolo.
Mashugana.
We'll do Kira Otis on Erica like that.
All right, man. So next week is my week.
Do you have a teaser for us?
How about let's see. I was trying to think of a teaser. Something about. Okay, this is going to be very obscure. You won't get it, but at least it's something to
All
think
right.
about. Stretch out with your feelings.
Star Wars.
That's Star Wars reference, but it doesn't have anything to do with Star Wars.
Stretch out with your feelings. I don't even remember what quote was that from. I mean, what line? What character was that from?
Well, the character is the important clue.
Oh, all right.
So
I won't.
it has nothing to
ask
do
any
with
more
Star
questions.
Wars, though. But
Okay.
you'll get it.
right.
I'll explain it next week.
All right. That sounds
So
good.
next episode. All right, man. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this show this week of the Twisted 10. And once again, I'm your host. My name is Tach, and across from me,
Adam.
and thanks to our guest Jimmy Klein for stopping by.
Yep.
All right, guys, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. See ya. Bring a list.
Our very first guest for.
Well,
I guess we had.
Yeah, Andrea was here.
Yeah, that's right.
But she didn't bring guests, or didn't bring a list. Yeah.
She brought breasts.
She brought her breasts. That's what she
Brought her
brought.
breasts. Yes.
But with us today is Jimmy Klein, and he is from Taint Funny. And Jimmy, what's up?
Not much. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, definitely. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. So you've listened to all of the episodes so far, right? No, I'm just kidding. I already know the answer to that.
No, I didn't want to spoil my own list, so I purposely.
So you brought in your own original list. You did all the homework
Yes.
on it.
Yeah, I did all my own homework, and I got my own list. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
awesome.
Yeah, that's how the kind of the show format for the Twisted 10 works is that you bring in the host surprises the other host or hosts in this case with their own original top 10 list. Oliver, get out of that shit. Come on. Dog. So this week we get given the gift of not having to do any work for the top 10
Boom.
list, but
It's the best kind.
we get given the gift of a unique top 10 list coming from outside of our minds. So
That works.
So Jimmy, can you give us a little background on you? Like what
Yeah.
what do you do? Not what do you do? Well, whatever you want to give us.
Well, I'm on another podcast
Oh yeah,
that you may have listened to called Taint Funny
nice.
with three other gentlemen.
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, I think
our
so,
listeners
too.
probably know a little bit
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that one too. Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I got a background doing theater, doing some video stuff.
Sweet.
You know?
Awesome.
Do you act, sing, do production work? What do you like to do in the theater?
Yes.
Really? My girlfriend has she's been up here at the Coco Playhouse or Coco Players, whatever the hell that place is called.
Coco Surfside Playhouse.
Cocoa Village Playhouse.
Coco Village
Coco
Playhouse.
Village
Okay,
Playhouse.
yeah.
She's sang, danced, and the whole thing, acted everything. She's got an amazing voice.
That's cool.
I want to try to get her and push her back into doing that stuff again. Now
Yeah.
that I'm helping her out in time.
I talked to her about because we have a short film we're going to be in production soon, and I talked to her about possibly maybe auditioning for a certain role that she might be able to handle.
I think it'd be great.
I think I know.
That's
what
why I was
role
hoping that.
I think I know what role you're talking about, right? Talks like Howard Cosell because that's who we listened to. For those of you who don't know, Howard Cosell was a sports announcer from the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
So he talks like Howard Cosell because that's how he, but he went on to do probably more than anybody in the film other than John Cusack. He was in Inception, Truman Show, Pearl Harbor, The Game, and
Really?
Los Angeles. Yeah, he was in
That's
a lot
surprising.
of
I
stuff.
didn't know
Inception
that.
is such a good movie.
He almost has a better career than John Cusack does. And when I say he was in these films, I don't necessarily say that he was just background people. He was in as decent people.
Now that I'm kind of remembering that guy's face, he does look familiar. And I think
Yeah.
I probably have seen him in these movies and going, God, he looks familiar, but I don't know from
Exactly,
what.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So Better Off Dead, I highly suggest that film. That's a great film.
Absolutely.
It's a very quotable film. It's a cool, I don't know, it's just one of those 80s movies that's just fun to watch.
I want my $2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And if you watch Hot Tub Time Machine, I think 1 or 2, they have a throwback to that. Some guy goes up and hands him $2. And they don't really explain it. They just kind of say it.
Yeah.
But
I think that was in part 2, I think.
the other one, which is, I would consider it
first one.
a sister movie of that, which is, this is number 9.
I agree, too, that they're like
Yeah,
sister movies.
they are, yeah.
Because it's almost the same character.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it, I was going to wait, but I was going to
No,
say
I didn't. I know what you're going to say. I didn't write it down. Go ahead.
about how the cartoon.
yeah.
Because like in this next one,
He's totally lost. He's like, what the fuck? Are they
First of all, let me give a backstory about me and Jimmy. First of all, we're about as
alike?
well, we've been friends since like 1987. All right, so it's like we're not married, but we're kind of married. So
You have a
It's almost like we can finish.
each other's sandwiches.
Yeah.
I mean sentences.
you have a bromance. It's all right. That's okay
But,
to admit.
anyway, about these two movies, like in Better Off Dead, he wasn't a cartoonist, but there was cartoons in it, right?
There was. Yeah, he does
a
at the
draw-
very opening of both films. He does the animation for both of them. John Cusack
Yeah.
did animation when he was younger. Yeah.
Those are actually John Cusack animations.
Yeah, no, he actually draws them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like a cartoonist in both movies, and he does. There's parts of it that are animated where he kind of narrates and over the animation about kind of what's going on, and just both movies shared that. And I thought
So
it was
this
pretty
next
cool.
movie is 1409.
A lot of these summaries come either right from IMDb, right from Rotten Tomatoes, or I just happened to find a summary online somewhere. So they're not all from one place.
Okay.
Okay, Lane Meyer, who's John Cusack's character, is a teen with a peculiar family and a bizarre fixation with his girlfriend, Beth, who's played by Amanda Weiss. I wrote down some of their names, people that I thought might look familiar, people that people might know. When Beth dumps Lane, he decides to kill himself, making bumbling attempts at suicide. Outside of his morbid endeavors, Lane spends time with his oddball buddy Charles, played by Curtis Armstrong, and befriends Monique, played by Diane Frankley. I don't think she ever went on to do anything
No,
else.
I don't think so either.
A visiting French foreign exchange student. Eventually, Lane resolves to race Beth's obnoxious new boyfriend on the ski slopes with unexpected results.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think I may have seen a John Cusack flick on the ski slopes.
Yeah.
That was probably it.
Have you ever heard the line, "I want my $2"?
Yes, I have. Okay.
That's from
Yeah,
this
yeah.
movie.
all right.
Yes.
I know it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a really nice 69 Camaro in the movie that he fixes up through the course of the
It
movie.
may have been 20 years since I've seen that movie. I didn't see it in the age that I would have respected the movie. So I'll
If you
have to
watch it
again.
now, it really is a good movie.
Okay.
If you watch it.
Yeah.
But it's
I love
got Rotten Tomatoes scored at 88%. And
wow.
this is the customer rating, not Rotten Tomatoes, because not all these movies were even in Rotten Tomatoes, but they all had at least customer ratings in Rotten Tomatoes. So I
Okay.
wrote down the customer ratings. It's got John Cusack and Curtis Armstrong in it. It's got a guy.
For those of you
named,
who don't know who Curtis Armstrong is, he played Booger. In
yeah,
Benjamin
I assume,
Rose
I'm sorry,
movies.
I
Yeah.
assume people would know who he is.
Booger.
No, Jimmy, you have to remember we're a different breed. We
I'm
tend
used
to
to
know people.
My wife is like an encyclopedia with
Yeah,
people.
I'm
in
the
movies.
same. I'm the same way.
Yeah, and so I'm used to just not having to. But one of the other gentlemen in the movie his name is David Ogden Steers. If you look up his picture, he was on MASH, and he did a lot of voiceover work and stuff like that. So if you saw him, you'd be like, I've seen that guy before.
What did he play in that? What did he play in the movie?
He played...
he plays dad.
The dad, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But another one that I thought was interesting, there's an Asian guy that always wants to race Wayne Myers, right? And he does this...
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to the Twisted 10, bringing you original and unique, host-created top 10 lists, recorded live in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida, with hosts Tach Van Sickle and Adam Poston.
All right, welcome to the Twisted 10. And once again, my name is Tach, and sitting across from me is...
Hey, I'm Adam. How you guys doing? Well, how are you doing?
Oh, how am I doing? I'm doing okay.
Did I give it away? Did I give it away? We have a guest.
Yeah, sure. I didn't say that yet. So, how are you doing, Adam?
Hey, I can't complain, man. It's another day. It's the day after April Fool's Day. So, it's all right. Did you get any April Fool's gags pulled on you?
No, nothing.
Yeah, no, me
Nothing.
neither. But I'm on guard on April 1st now. From now on, I don't look at anything on the internet critically. So,
yeah, I don't believe
I'm on guard
anything.
for it.
Yeah, I remember one year, this was several years back, is back in my rack room days, if you remember that.
Wait a minute, you worked at Rack Room?
Yeah.
I worked at Rack Room.
We didn't work together. I think you started right after I left.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, back then, on the radio, on local rock radio station, they were playing a joke, which I didn't even realize was April 1st, and I fell for it. They were saying that Metallica had broken up. And this guy was going around like calling into these stations going, yeah. And I was like, what the I was like shocked and I'm pissed. And I was like, oh man. And then finally I realized the next day it was just an April Fool's
April Fool's joke, yeah. Hopefully you weren't like the girls that all committed suicide when Kurt Cobain shot himself.
Yeah, I wasn't like that at all.
No? Were you crying in your pillow at home over?
So we have a guest.
All right. Moving on from tax tears.
So we have a guest today, and he has brought a list for us.
I love it.
Our first guest. Yeah.
Timmy.
Yeah, Tim.
I was kidding.
No. That's why I was hoping she was going to be here tonight so she can meet Jimmy.
That's
and
cool,
kind of
right
talk
on.
about it.
Is this the role of the porn star?
Porn star? That's right.
I approve vehemently.
I actually met my wife in theater. We were dance partners.
I thought you were going to see you make your wife in porn. Like, that's awesome.
No. That wasn't until years later.
That's really cool.
All right, Jimmy. So what have you got for us? What's the name of this list?
Well, I didn't really give the whole list a name per se, but the people that I'm friends with, my acquaintances, the people I work with, they kind of know me for having a little bit different taste in movies. So I thought I would do a top 10 list of what I call Jimmy's cult movies.
Jimmy's cult
movies.
Can we do a show about cults and stuff?
Because there's so many times where I'll mention a movie like, hey, have you seen this movie? And I get so many times, I've never even heard of that movie. And I got to explain the whole, and then they look at me like I'm crazy because I enjoy the movie and I love the movie and they've never heard of it. So I thought I would do a list of all the movies that I really enjoy.
Sweet.
So, yes. Jimmy's Twisted Top 10 Cult.
But these aren't cult
movies.
films.
So
They're
Jimmy's cult
films.
Jimmy's cult.
So
difference.
number 10 is Human Centipede? Is that how this list is going to go?
I think they're weirder than this. I know
I'm
Jimmy,
kidding.
and they're weirder than that.
I do have them broken up into subcategories, so to speak.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Occasionally, Tack and I throw a twist in there.
Okay.
Do you have any angles or twists that are different?
Possibly.
Okay.
I'll discuss that at the end of the list.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Really, all it is?
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oliver's going to contribute to background noise in the studio.
That's okay. That gives ambiance. All right. So I thought I would start off my list of Jimmy's cult films with a couple of movies that are a little bit more nostalgic. And Tach has seen both of these movies. I know he's seen both of these movies. One of these movies he got me to watch in the first place. And both of them happen to be John Cusack films.
Oh, nice.
I love John Cusack.
Yeah.
So you said both. Is this 10 and 9? Or is this
This
just
is 10 and 9, yeah.
10 and 9, okay.
10 and 9, yeah. The first movie is a little movie called Better Off Dead.
Love it.
Yeah. That's not the movie you got me to watch.
Never
but
seen
is
that.
funny. You've never seen it?
Never seen
Well,
that.
I
That's
wrote down
great.
a brief summary about the film for those of you who haven't
Oh, yeah.
seen it.